How's it going out there, everybody? Got those nice frosty nugs sitting here. My master kush. Got a little bored last night, was feeling inspirational. And I thought, I wanted to make something. I couldn't think of what to make. And I'm like, well, I already have a bong. So what do you make when you already have a bong and a steamroller and a pipe? Really don't need much of anything else. I made a diffuser. Interesting little thing. It's like a mini bong to go with my bong. Actually hits pretty nice. I kind of like it. My next step is to make it female or make it male instead of female so that I can actually just stick it right down inside. Maybe make the tube smaller. But other than that, this thing works great. So, moving on, I actually found some great articles today about our up and coming presidential electorals. Well, it turns out this weekend, in all fashion as she usually does, Hilary Clinton has changed her entire views on medical marijuana. Basically, she was in South Carolina. She's one of our Democratic front runners for the presidential election coming up soon. Lots of people are just talking about how she is just not the person for the presidential. She's lying, she's conniving, she'll say anything to become president. Basically, she's saying now that marijuana should be downgraded from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 2 under the Controlled Substance Act, and continues to talk about support for research because with more and more states legalizing, we need to find out exactly what marijuana does and how to properly dose it. She also continues to say how in the United States we have two experiments going on. One is recreational use and the other one is medical use. By keeping marijuana or cannabis in the Schedule 1 listing, it makes it hard for anybody to do research because there is no research as it continues to be a Schedule 1. Well, duh. We know this. Thank you, Hillary, for talking about stuff that we've already been telling you about. So, as we're watching her continue on and on and on, talking and talking and talking, you almost just want to tell her to shut up. She continues, talking about, how we need to research it more and all this other stuff. When just last month, she actually was said to just flat out say no. She does not support any proposal to legalize recreational marijuana whatsoever. She doesn't even want to see marijuana rescheduled. Uh, Hillary is actually not in any support of any acts or bills whatsoever. Currently, we have the CARES Act, which is out there, which is exactly what she says we need to do. The CARES Act is actually out there, all for the one purpose of doing the exact thing she says needs to be done. Reschedule marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2. That's what that whole act is about. Does she support it? Nope. And it's actually really funny because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she's all Miss Marijuana and wants to, legalize it, see medical research done on it and properly dose the patients and all this other stuff. Right after her forerunner, the guy that's right behind her, Mr. Bernie Sanders, comes out and actually proposes a bill himself to completely remove cannabis from the Controlled Substance Act altogether. Not to reschedule it, not to change the way it's written or anything. Literally remove it. Bernie Sanders wants to end prohibition. Basically, he's a senator right now, and he's the Democratic presidential hopeful. He's making good on his word. He has said over and over that marijuana needs to be removed completely, and now he has actually submitted a piece of legislation aimed at bringing down marijuana prohibition altogether. It's actually called the Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act, and it's designed to remove marijuana from the Controlled Substance Act and allow individual states the rights to regulate their cannabis industry the same way as they do tobacco and alcohol. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking it's already like that. We can already do that now. No, we can't. Just like Hilary Clinton pointed out, as long as we have it under the Controlled Substance Act, each state that allows this is walking a fine line, no matter how much we ask the federal government to stay out of our business. Uh, each state walks that fine line. Colorado and Washington's walking that fine line. Now, if we can remove it from the Controlled Substance Act, which tobacco and alcohol, both substances that kill people, are not on the act at all, we need to remove marijuana the same. It doesn't kill people. It helps people. So why is it still on the Controlled Substance Act? Basically, Sanders said by removing cannabis from the Controlled Substance Act, it would allow states to regulate it the same way as tobacco and alcohol. It would also it would also stop the destruction of people's lives due to the fact of getting criminal records. I mean, imagine I go outside, I put this into a container, this little bit here into a container, I walk outside, and I'm walking down the street, cop pulls me over, finds my container, puts me in jail, and now the rest of my life is ruined. I can't get a job, I can't get an education at a school, I can't do nothing. Why? Because I had a little bit of herb on me. And that's what's going on. That's what people are facing right now to this day, is literally going to jail and having their entire lives ripped apart, families torn apart because they're sitting in prison. What does that leave that person to do when they get out of prison again? They can't work. They can't hold a job. They can't legally do anything properly. So they're left with one option: crime. It's funny how crime leads to crime. Who would ever thought that making somebody a criminal would make them do crime? They weren't criminal before that. They were just a pot smoker before that. But we made them a criminal. So now what? The bill is actually proposed to generate around 20 co-sponsors, but they're expecting to meet very heavy scrutiny when it comes to the Republicans. They're literally expecting, when it comes to Republicans, it's going to hit a wall. The Republican wall of prohibition. And while Congress does hold the power to remove the substance from the Controlled Substance Act, if Bernie Sanders becomes president, as president or any president whatsoever, they would only hold the power to reschedule the drug, not be able to remove it. Congress is the only people who can actually remove it. So let's just hope Bernie Sanders has some things up his sleeve that can actually get this passed by the the Republicans. I mean, imagine it's actually completely removed from the Controlled Substance Act. That would allow us to research it, grow it, own it, have it, smoke it, regulate it. We can make businesses around it, create jobs around it, fund our economy around it. Remember, our economy is funded by all of us who actually go out and spend money. If we're not making money, we're not spending money. If we're all considered criminals and have to do crime in order to get by, we don't want to spend that money either, because that's money made by doing crime. Who wants to go out spending that money and getting caught up? I mean, personally, I would love to just have a job, work a regular job. That's what I'm working towards, but I want to work in the cannabis industry. I just have to wait for everything to work out, remove it from the Controlled Substance Act, and I can go ahead and get me a job. Plain and simple. They wouldn't be able to drug test you for it. They wouldn't be able to do anything for it. If it's removed from the Controlled Substance Act, it'd be just like tobacco. It'd be just like alcohol. You're not allowed to use it at work. If you're caught using it at work, well then, hello. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here a little early. I've made some of my other videos kind of long. But that's a lot to think about when you got two presidential elections actually going on, or electorals going out, both Democrat. Who do you think is going to be the best? Hilary Clinton has a very bad reputation, while Bernie Sanders, well, he's a senator, seems to have a good talk and seems to walk a good walk and actually stands by his word. I think he'd be the most honest president we'd have since Abraham Lincoln. So, let's see what happens. Probably not going to see Bernie Sanders hit presidency, because they're all going to look at him and say, "You're not a woman. Hillary Clinton's a woman. We already did the black thing. Now we need to do the woman thing." Remember, America, let's not rush to do the latest thing. Let's get somebody in the office that actually knows what they're doing. Not some lady who watched her husband get head behind an office desk. Remember to educate before you medicate. Have a peaceful, positive, productive day, everybody. Coming at you.